Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone, who I learned this truth from in the room well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the 1/3, a large multitude. Unto you I say Shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And the title for this was going to be Easter is a pagan holiday. And what is majority of our people, the Israelites, the nation of Israel, that comprise of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, getting ready to celebrate tomorrow, which is going to be Sunday, Easter Sunday. They're getting ready to celebrate this pagan holiday that involves bunnies, eggs, that have nothing to do with the resurrection of Yahushai, because majority of our people are still in the dark. They're still worshiping these false gods, these false idols, still going to these churches, and ultimately Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai isn't dealing with these churches, because the main thing that they love to teach in these churches, either these Christian churches or these Roman Catholic churches, they mainly preach about that feel-good message, that prosperity doctrine. They're not warning their people of that all hell's about to break loose. They're not warning their people about the destruction of America. They're not warning their people about Jacob's trouble. And ultimately, they're not warning their people about the MOTB written about in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. So majority of the nation of Israel, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, they're going to get destroyed because of their lack of knowledge, because of their lack of fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So when it's all said and done, all these pagan holidays that our people love to worship, these false gods and these false idols that they love to worship, it's all a snare and a trap, because ultimately Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai didn't want all of our people to wake up to the 100% truth, because a lot of our people have woken up to the fact that they're Israelites, but that's the only thing that they know. You know, that's where it stops, and ultimately it's deeper than just knowing that you're an Israelite. It's coming out of that worldly vibration that you had on you before you woke up to the fact that you're an Israelite. Because even a lot of our people that know that they're Israelites, they're still celebrating these pagan holidays, still celebrating Christmas, they're still celebrating Thanksgiving, still celebrating 4th of July, and the excuse that they love to use is it's for the kids. But ultimately, you're still worshiping these false gods and these false idols, even if you say it's just for the kids, because ultimately, when you wake up to the fact that you're an Israelite, you got to put away all these worldly lusts that you once had, all these birthdays, Thanksgiving, Easter, Valentine's Day. You got to put that away, because ultimately now we come and serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and then with that is putting all the iniquity that we were once doing, you know, celebrating our birthdays, you know, worshiping our women, and all manners of false worship, you know, because a lot of our people think that they're worshiping who they ignorantly call God and who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, which their true names are Yahweh in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, which means he exists, or he is, or he is to be, and who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, which his real name in the ancient Paleo Hebrew is Yahushai, which means he is the deliverer. And what are we going to need deliverance from is going to be that those intercontinental ballistic missiles that are going to be shot over here into the soils of America. That's going to be the end of this place. Not no damn prosperity doctrine and America's going to be healed, Babylon's going to be healed. No, this place is going to be destroyed. And ultimately, 2/3 of our people are going to be left here because they're still out here worshiping these false gods, these false idols, worshiping white Jesus, Islam, Buddhism, and tomorrow, Sunday, a lot of our people are getting ready to partake in those wicked sacrifices, and some of them know it, that it's wrong, but a lot of our people still don't know. They're still asleep, they're still drunk off the Babylon wine, the philosophies of this place, the cares of the world, and it's going to be their downfall, because a lot of our people have heard about the Israelites. They heard about the gospel. They heard the true names of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, but instead they chose to willingly be ignorant, to remain in that ignorance, and that's going to be a destruction unto them. This is Amos chapter 5 and verse 21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. And ultimately, a lot of our people, they celebrate all these pagan holidays. They celebrate Christmas. They celebrate Easter, thinking that, it's an offering unto Yahweh Shemel Shai. But no, you're offering these sacrifices unto these false gods, these false idols, these demons, and our people don't even know it. They don't even know what they're getting ready to do tomorrow, that they're really about to offer sacrifices unto Ishtar, the ancient goddess of fertility. They don't know that's really what Easter goes back to, because the word Easter in the Hebrew goes back to Pesach. But a lot of our people don't know what the Pesach is. They don't know what the Passover really consists of, that it was a day where the nation of Israel got delivered. They exited the land of Egypt through Moses. A lot of our people don't know this history, so they're out here worshiping all these false idols, false gods, these pagan holidays, not knowing what they're doing. And ultimately, that's going to be a destruction unto them, because they want to continue in their iniquity and their folly, with all the cares of the world, all the manners of madness that Babylon offers. Because to repent and turn back to Yahweh Shemel Shai in truth and sincerity, you got to put away all those worldly lusts that you were once doing. And with that comes a big sacrifice. You may have to forsake your family members. You may have to forsake jobs. You may have to forsake hobbies that you once used to love to do. You gotta put away all these things that get in the way of serving Yahweh Shemel Shai. But majority of our people, the nation of Israel, aren't willing to do that, and ultimately that's why they're going to be destroyed, because they wanted to continue. They want to continue to worship these false gods, these false idols, celebrating these pagan holidays that have nothing to do with Yahweh Shemel Shai. Because in the scriptures, we as a nation do have, holy days. We got the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We got the Feast of Tabernacles. We got the Feast of Dedication, also known as Hanukkah. We got all these different holidays, or holy days, because that's where that word holidays originates from. It really originates from holy days. But all these holidays aren't holy. They're all pagan days. But our people don't know that, and that's ultimately why they're going to be destroyed, for their lack of knowledge. This is Judges chapter 10 and verse 14. Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation. So when all hell breaks loose, when Jacob's troubles start, when the famine hits, there's no food, there's no water, people start to lose their jobs. You got marauders going from house to house, looking for goods, looking for water, food, shelter, raiment. And ultimately, a lot of our people, they're gonna call on God. They're gonna call on white Jesus Christ. They're gonna call on Allah, Buddha. But ultimately, Yahweh Shemel Shai is not gonna listen to the cries, to the prayers of the nation of Israel, because when they had the time to repent and turn back to Yahweh Shemel Shai. They chose their idols. They chose their false gods. They chose these pagan holidays. And ultimately, they're going to be destroyed for not worshiping the true power. For not worshiping Yahweh Shemel Shai. There's going to be a destruction unto them. This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master, but Israel does not know. My people does not consider. And even the animals know who their master is. But the nation of Israel, that comprises of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you don't really consider who your true power is, who your true God is. They think that, white Jesus Christ is their God, or Islam or Buddha. But no, Yahweh Shemel Shai is the true power of the nation of Israel. But our people don't know that. A majority of our people don't know that. And even the ones that have woken up to the fact that they're Israelites, they're still out here playing games, having Israelite parties, Israelite party Passovers, Israelite Hebrew cookouts, Hebrew boxing matches, Hebrew speed dating, all these manners of folly that are going to lead our people to get destroyed, because they're not taking this truth serious. And that's why a lot of our people are going to get destroyed, because they're out here bullshitting around, not taking this grace period that we've been given serious, when it's the time to get right, not to be out here bullshitting and partying, eating, drinking, giving into marriage, which that's the spirit that majority of the nation of Israel is in right now. They're out here at the clubs, at the bars, every weekend, having a jolly old time, thinking that all hell is not about to break loose soon. But we see all the signs, we see all the prophecies playing out, we see Donald Trump imposing all these different tariffs, making these nations mad, and eventually the beast, the NATO and the EU is going to hate the whore. They're going to get tired of this place, and they're going to destroy the whore. They're going to burn this whore, like it says in Revelation chapter 18. And that's one of the first commandments. One of the first commandments that was given unto the nation of Israel when Moses came back from the mountain, from the chariot of Yahweh Shemel Shai, is you should have no other gods before me, like it says right here in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. And even before Moses came down from the mountain, what was Israel doing while Moses was up in the cloud, in the mountain? Our people, they cried unto Aaron to make an idol to worship, because that's the spirit of the nation of Israel, constantly rebellious, constantly rebelling against Yahweh Shemel Shai. Even after seeing all the miracles, seeing the Red Sea, being split in half, seeing a chariot, the chariot of Yahweh Shai, flying over them, manna being rained from heaven. That still wasn't enough for the nation of Israel to really worship Yahweh Shemel Shai in truth and sincerity. They were still out here bullshitting, playing around, and that's why that wicked generation had to walk in circles for 40 years to die off. And that same wicked generation is back today, and we can see it because they're still out here worshiping all these false gods, all these false idols, not really worshiping Yahweh Shemel Shai. Because a lot our people, the nation of Israel, they gotta worship something. So they have a zeal. All these Israelites in these churches, in these Catholic churches, they think that they're worshiping Yahweh Shemel Shai, but no, they have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. They don't have the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Yahweh Shemel Shai that's been given unto the hopeful elect. This is Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 4. turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, your power. And that's another thing that the nation of Israel loves to do. They love to make idols. You know, especially the northern tribe. When you go to a northern tribe house, you know, Issachar or Ephraim, Zebulon, what do you see as soon as you walk in? They have an altar of Caesar Borgia, you know, white Jesus Christ. And if you go throughout their house, you see all these paintings of Jesus Christ, Caesar Borgia, in the restroom, you know, and the hallways and in the kitchen. Then you got the Virgin Mary as well. And then another god that the Northern Kingdom loves to worship is the Santa Muerte, which is the Saint Death. You know, and that's another demon that our people are worshiping, thinking that it's offering protection unto them, but no, it's offering protection for now, ultimately to reserve you to get destroyed, because a lot of our people are being preserved right now, thinking that you know, who they ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ is keeping them, but no. Yeah, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is keeping you, but he's keeping you to destroy you. He's not keeping you to deliver you, because majority of the nation of Israel is wicked. They're still out here willingly being ignorant, still willingly choosing to eat pork, willingly choosing to be sodomites, be moles, worship the image of the beast, and all manners of iniquity that our people are still choosing to do. Smoking blunts, popping pills, sipping lean, indulging in black culture, and all manners of madness that the nation of Israel is in right now. And ultimately, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to put a stop to it sooner than later. And we see that time of the nation, the wicked of the nation of Israel receiving their recompense for being wicked and evil is coming sooner than later. This is Psalms chapter 96 and verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua made the heavens. And our people don't consider that everything that goes around the earth is being controlled by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, because there's no such thing as free will. And a lot of our people think that worshiping all these false gods, all these false idols, that they're doing it by their own means, and, you know, doing their own will. But no, ultimately it's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua putting it upon the spirit of the nation of Israel, of the 2/3, to worship these false gods and these false idols. Because ultimately he put that spirit of slumber, the spirit of deep sleep, to be drunk with the cares of the world, to be drunk with all these false ideologies, all these philosophies of the world. Because the nation of Israel, they go into everything but the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You know, they go into Egyptology, Kemet, the black consciousness, Islam, Buddhism, the Anunnaki, and all sorts of madness. But the one true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, the 100% truth, the 100% sound doctrine, they don't go into that, because ultimately it condemns everything that they do. You know, dreadlocks, committing adultery, eating abominable food, shrimp, lobster, crab. Can't celebrate your birthday anymore. The nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're not willing to give that up. They're not willing to forsake the cares of this world. They gotta still worship all these pagan holidays so they can feel good, because it feels good to the flesh to celebrate all these pagan holidays, eating pork, you know, offering sacrifices unto Baal. This is Psalms chapter 115 and verse 4. Their idols are silver and gold, the work of man's hands. Verse 5, they have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. Verse 6, they have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. And that's a lot of these gods, these idols of these nations. You know, Islam, Buddhism, the picture of Caesar Borgia. These aren't true gods. You know, they don't really. They're not alive. They're lifeless and inanimate objects. They don't move. They don't talk. They don't see. They don't smell. They can't do nothing. But our people still go down on their knees, raise their hands up, and pray to these false gods and these false idols that don't do anything. Verse 7, they have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not, neither speak they through their throat. Verse 8, they that make them are like unto them, so is everyone that trusted in them. And majority of our people, the nation of Israel, they trust in these false gods, they trust in these false idols, you know, to keep them. But when all hell breaks loose, when the hour of temptation hits, when there's famine, when people are getting deleted in mass numbers, they're going to call upon these gods, but they're not going to answer them, because ultimately they're not alive. You know, they're just stone, wood, gold, silver, whatever they are. It is not going to be able to deliver them. O Israel, trust thou in the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai. This is verse 9. He is their help and their shield. And that's the elect. The elect are going to have that true protection. They're going to be under the shadow of the Almighty. They're going to put their trust in Yahweh Shemel Shai. But what is the rest of the nation of Israel going to do? The 2/3, they're going to trust in their idols. They're going to trust in their gods to keep them. And ultimately, what's going to be that unto them is going to be destruction. It's going to be damnation, because they didn't put their trust in the true and living power, Yahweh Shemel Shai. This is Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power. I will also forget thy children. That's ultimately why a lot of our people, 2/3 of the nation of Israel, are going to get destroyed. They're going to get ravished. They're going to get demolished, because their lack of knowledge, their reprobate behavior. Because when the prophets were out here preaching to the nation of Israel to repent and turn back to Yahweh Shemel Shai, instead they chose to worship these false gods, these false idols, keep celebrating these pagan holidays, keep celebrating Easter, 4th of July, Christmas. And ultimately, that's why our people are going to get destroyed, because they didn't put their trust in Yahweh Shemel Shai. They didn't put their trust in the true and living power. This is James chapter 4 and verse 4. Ye adulterer and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahweh Shemel Shai? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And majority of the nation of Israel are adulterers and adulteresses, because they're turning their back against their true husband, which is Yahweh Shemel Shai. Instead, like the nation of Israel has always done, played the whore, go to these heathens, celebrate these heathens holidays, worship these heathens gods and idols. And ultimately, if you're a friend of the world, you know, which means being in the world, worshiping these false gods, these false idols, then you're an enemy of Yahweh Shemel Shai, because if you're not serving him, then you're serving other gods. You're serving demons. And ultimately, that's going to be a destruction unto the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, because they're friends of the world. You know, that the world loves them. That's why all these pastors, these Christian churches are going to be packed like sardines tomorrow. And then after that, Jake isn't going to go to church anymore. They go once out the year, or twice. They go during Easter and Christmas. After that, you never see him ever again in churches. You know, so that's the spirit that our people are in. The only reason they're going to go is because they're going to have a cookout. You know, they're going to have pork ribs. They're going to have shrimp, grilled shrimp. And that's letting you know what spirit that our people are in. They're in the spirit of eating, marrying, drinking, giving into marriage, worshiping false gods, still caught up in their folly. And ultimately, that's going to be the downfall of 2/3 of the nation of Israel for still worshiping these false gods, these false idols, celebrating these pagan holidays. It's gonna lead them to get destroyed. But that's pretty much the point. I pray that this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double